Hello and welcome to News Today. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amano. Coming up, President John Mahama to direct Trees Ministry to halt activities of anti-piracy textile task force. Also ahead, South Africa's alien first black president Nelson Mandela is putting up a courageous fight from his deathbed, according to his daughter Makaziwe Mandela. Well, stay on over the next 60 minutes. I'll bring you details of these stories and plenty more. Let's start with President Mahama's directive to the Trade Ministry. He's directed the Trade Minister to hold activities of an anti-pirated textile task force in various markets in the country. Now, this follows appeals by leadership of market traders at the Flagstaff House Tuesday. Some shops at the Makola market were ransacked on Tuesday, leading to loss of textiles worth several thousands of Ghana cedis. I'll bring you visuals of those stories in a moment, but let's talk about the Lands Ministry as well, where the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Alhaji Inusa Fuseni, says Ghanaians interested in engaging in legal small-scale mining must come forward to be licensed to start operations. The Lands Minister, speaking on the Super Morning Show, also said local assemblies must develop mechanisms to protect natural resources within their jurisdiction.
Ensuring that it's integrated in the system, in the economy of the country. I mean, because last year, 2012, small-scale mining sector, the small-scale mining sector produced about 30% of the gold produced in this country. That's 1.44 million ounces of gold.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, if this was produced by both the illegal and legal, and the legal cannot be accounted for, you will see why we say that small-scale mining, unplanned, uncontrolled, unregulated, is akin to armed robbery. People just take our resources away. And so that is why we have to do it. And people who want to engage in legal small-scale mining must come forward and take licenses and be able to do so. If you look at this year's budget, about 349 square kilometers of land is being accessed for mineralization and to parcel them out for small-scale mining. And if the Assembly knows the importance of that natural resource, and is prepared to protect that natural resource, then why will you establish a ministry? Because even at the Assembly level, they can design policies to ensure that they sustainably manage their natural resources. Land is in all districts. I mean, the land of Ghana is parcel. But then you cannot understand why people cannot make a connection between their right to health and the degradation that is going on. Because the people are using chemicals, toxic chemicals, that will compromise the health of people living within those jurisdictions. Maybe because those chemicals have a long-term effect. That's why we are not seeing it. When you have ocular oversight over your jurisdiction and foreigners come or illegal activities are taking place in that jurisdiction and you lose sight of that, you are not worth being the leader of that community. Not only in this particular instance, not only small-scale mining, we've even cancelled the licenses of large-scale concession holders who have given part of their land for small-scale mining activity. It clearly have been saying to all the chief executives, and then nobody should call the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources a bad man if he recommends that if he sends a report that you are in collaboration with the illegal miners and doing illegal activities, because the president has said repeatedly that the ability of a district chief executive to forestall, mitigate, in any way bring mining, illegal small-scale mining to a halt will be one such important benchmark to assess performance. And he's repeatedly said that. And so we, as the supervising ministry, and I, as the chairman of the task force, will report to him any information that we have confirming the involvement of officials of government at the district level in this matter. The complicity of any person in aiding, abetting, or facilitating small-scale mining in those districts will be brought to the attention of the authorities.
Government is set to launch a 32-meter telescope soon as part of efforts to build the country's space and science technology industry. Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Joe Otinje, who made this known at the 5th African Leadership Conference in Accra, emphasized that the project will positively impact the country's agricultural, telecommunication and mining sectors, among others.
The conference brought together scientists, research professionals and political leaders across Africa to deliberate on the state of space science and technology in Africa and how to move it forward. The continent, as part of efforts to improve its capabilities in space science and technology, have committed to the multi-billion-dollar Square Array Radio Telescope project under the leadership of South Africa.
The SKA project will improve African capability in space science, technology, and innovation. The enormous benefits in infrastructure will contribute immensely to economic growth of Africa. It will create jobs for thousands of African youth. It will also make it possible for African scientists with their counterparts elsewhere to answer some of the basic questions in astrophysics.
Among the 8 countries interested in undertaking the telescope project, Ghana won the bid and has received a $2 million grant to build a 32-meter telescope. The telescope, which is to be launched soon, is expected to impact on the economy greatly.
Those of us in the environment, we are looking for using it to see Galamsey people and taking images of those who are doing it. I don't have to be there, but the technology will allow me to take the images. Once I get to an image, I'll be able to follow up and allow the laws to apply. In the areas of disaster, if something happens, depending on the use of your mobile, you should be able to relay it to the appropriate place within the shortest of time. And those are the areas, both in the health, agric, monitoring of environmental things, national security. Borders, people are smuggling cocoa, they are smuggling fuel. These days, with that technology, we should be able to see you crossing and use that to prevent and ensure that we sustain the economy.
The Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute, established recently, is leading in the telescope project and is building capacity of Ghanaians to man it. Meanwhile, a communique will be issued after the 3-day conference on how Africa can develop space science policies, build capacity and build a shared vision for the sector.
Let's go back to our earlier story where President John Mahama directs the Trade Ministry to halt activities of anti-pirated textile task force in various markets in Ghana. This follows appeals by leadership of market traders at the Flagstaff House Tuesday. Now, some shops at the Makola market were ransacked, leading to losses of textiles worth several thousands of Ghana cedis.
As the Minister of Trade to allow a moratorium of the work of the Piracy Task Force in order that together with the market queens, they can carry out education to the women about the effect that pirated textiles have on our textile industries. If they can spend another 3 months and go to all the markets and educate the women, show them the different types of textiles and how to determine the pirated textiles so that the women are aware that, you know, you're not allowed to do this. I think that
President Mahama has also revealed that U.S. experts' investigations into market fires have established that the Makola market fire was caused by illegal electrical connection, but that of the Kumasi market was inconclusive. He made the revelation when Nana Oyelitha, Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, led leaders of market fire victims in the Greater Accra region to call on him at the Flagstaff House. He added that reports on all other fires were also inconclusive. This is the first time contents of the report has been made public since it was ready last October. Deputy Interior Minister James Agalga had earlier insisted the contents of the forensic report was not for public consumption because it had security implications. President Mahama, in the heat of constant news report about the market fires earlier this year, had suggested arsonists could be behind the crisis. 4 persons were subsequently arrested for prosecution for the market infernos.
tried to investigate the causes of the fires and find out what was causing them. Most of them, almost all of them at night, and it was not conclusive. We got some assistance from the United States, and they investigated 2 fires, the Kumasi one and the Makola Mall one. The Kumasi one was inconclusive because by the time they got there, people had gone into the place and destroyed much of the evidence, and so they could not find anything concrete that they could use to investigate. With regards to the Makola Mall one, they traced the source of the fire to an electrical problem. The mall had been built in a certain way, and lighting fixtures had been put in the roof. And in one particular place, they had inserted a container into the place, and in order for the container to go in, they had removed one of the light fixtures and left the wires. And so because the wires were hanging, somebody had connected another wire to it and then used it for a switchboard and all that. So when they traced it, the fire had started around where that illegal connection had been done. But with the other fires, we didn't have the opportunity for them to take a look at them and investigate them. So the report was inconclusive. With Makola, they said it was an electrical fault, but with the other fires, we could not determine conclusively what caused them, whether they were sabotage or they were natural fires.
The National Road Safety Commission says 1,539 people lost their lives between January and September 2013, while 9,741 reported injured as a result of road accidents. Statistics for Ghana from January to September this year stood at 10,558 cases of road accidents, and that's between January 2000 and December 2010. 20,503 people have died on the roads in Ghana, while 63,384 have reported injuries. Now, with the Yuletide approaching, the trend seems to be on the rise. And the National Road Safety Commission and stakeholders, including drivers, have been educating drivers on the need to ensure safety on our roads. You also recall that recently we celebrated the National Trotro Day. We'll find out what result is yielded. To help us know some of these things is Daniel Waku. He is Greater Accra Manager, National Road Safety Commission. He's here with me in the studio. Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
Today is 4th of December.
Yes.
We know you usually put in a lot of effort while we are approaching the Yuletide. Tell us about what you're doing.
Yeah, this year we kind of started early. That was last month. We launched this Christmas campaign. We are doing this in collaboration with the Police MTTU, the DVLA, the National Fire Service, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and the Ghana Red Cross Society. We have come together to launch this campaign, and we are moving from station to station. Did
you expand your stakeholdership?
Yes.
This year, it looks like you have expanded.
Yes, we have to. We have to because more and more we realize that everybody has to be part of the campaign. So we started last month, as I said earlier. We are visiting almost all the major stations in Accra.
And what exactly has the commission been doing visiting the stations?
Actually, we use this time to just intensify our education. A lot of times people think or say that we wait until Christmas time before we come. No. But we've been doing it ever, just that at this time we intensify the activities. This is just for Greater Accra region. All the other regional offices are also embarking on the same kind of drive, just to hype the fact that it could be dangerous out there. So let's be careful, be patient, and arrive safely.
Besides the education, this Christmas, what are we going to see on our roads? What's going to be different?
Yes, besides education, there is going to be a step up in the enforcement. After the education, we are going to finish the education next week. We are going to join them again to go onto the road to do the enforcement. So beside the education, we are going to enforce now. Now, we are trying to also involve the driver unions so that even before the vehicles leave the lorry stations, they do some check, put some measures in place. Pre-departure checks, for example, make sure the vehicle tires, the vehicles that are going to carry the passengers to wherever they are going, the tires are okay. Make sure the driver is okay. The driver has the right driving license. You know, you cannot use a driving license class B to drive 207, for example. So these driver unions and their executives must make sure these things are in place. If a driver is noticed to be under the influence of alcohol or even tired, that driver should not be allowed to move the vehicle out of the station. So we are trying to encourage the driver unions and transport organizations to even institute these kind of measures before the vehicles move from the lorry stations.
Last month also there was the National Trotro Day.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
It's a day that is instituted or put aside whereby officials of, for example, National Road Safety Commission or the Ministry of Transport would patronize public transport. The idea is we want to have a feel of what is going on there so that it can influence our decision making, our policy making. So we want to get information from the people. We want to feel it.
So what was the result of that experience?
You know, it did not start only this year. It started some years ago. And out of these, we have come up with some measures in collaboration with DVL, for example, to improve the way seats are fixed into the vehicles. Because we noticed or we realized that some of the seats that were fixed in these trotros need improvement. So if you take your vehicle to the DVLA right now, without meeting that standard, your vehicle will not be approved for roadworthiness.
I see.
Yeah.
I
So
see.
these are some of the things that we pick from those exercises.
I see. And so did you join public transport?
Of course I did.
I see.
It's not always that I sit in my car. I take public transport.
Once a while you do.
I do. It's fun.
Once a while. Is it?
It is.
I'm not sure a lot of people would agree with you.
You just want to see how
from
people,
when they are watching
you want
this.
to see how people, react. It's human nature. It's fun.
And as for fun, I'm not sure people would agree with you because it's sometimes really hectic to use public transport.
If you are in traffic, I agree with you. It cannot be fun. But if it's moving,
the conditions of some of our buses on the road. Is that not one of those things we would want to look at the conditions of the buses?
Yes, that is what I said. That some of the information that we get from these exercises inform us to put in policies. So, as I said earlier, the DVLA, we work with the DVLA, and then they are instituting this or enforcing these kind of policies. Even out of this exercise, we have even come up to institute this pre-departure check from lorry stations, so that even before the vehicle moves, we have drawn a guideline, which we have distributed to the lorries, to the unions.
Do they happen? Because you go to the lorry station, you pick a car or a bus, it just moves, nothing happens. They just take the toll at the exit, and then that's it.
Our investigation or our interaction with the unions is or give us the information that they do, or once in a while they move to check the vehicles. Some of the unions or the stations, they really do it. Some of them do it.
Because sometimes it's not about the speed, it's not about the carelessness of the driver or indiscipline on the road.
It's the vehicle.
It's the vehicle itself that's causing the accident.
I agree with you. That is why it's not a one-day issue. We are working on it, and we are moving slowly, but we are getting there.
Because for some people, the belief is that most of these rickety vehicles are owned by personnel of the MTTD, or perhaps even people within the Ghana Police Service. And hence, I'm just saying, the belief. That's the belief. And hence, they are not checked when they're on the road. They know that cars that belong to the officials, and so you get there and then you just let go without proper checks.
I don't believe that, but I also know that right now at the DVLA, if you take your vehicle there and you pass through the system, the laid down procedure, your vehicle will not leave the DVLA rickety.
How about those who do not pass through the system?
Then you are not getting the correct or the genuine certificate.
What are we doing to make sure that we bring those people? And
the DVLA are on top of the business or the job, and they are wiping out these people who are.
Let's move away from that for a bit. As an individual who patronizes public transport service or even use the roads, what should I do? this month, as far as road safety is concerned, what role can I play as an individual?
If you are an individual, the primary responsibility for your safety falls on you before it even gets to the police or the National Road Safety Commission or the union or the government. The primary responsibility of everybody's safety falls on that individual, unless the person is a child, and that responsibility falls on the parent or an elderly person. So take it upon yourself. Tell yourself, this Christmas I want to see next year. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure I pass through this. If you are a driver, you know what to do to be safe. If you really want to be safe, don't take risks. Definitely the demand for transport services is going to come. The queues are going to be getting longer and longer. This is the time for drivers and heavy car owners to start repairing their vehicle. Put your vehicles in shape, because when the time comes, you may not have the time to go and repair them. Now, if you are a driver and you are tired, you need to take a rest. You don't have to say that because the passengers are there. You go. You sleep. And when that happens, we all know what will happen. If you are a driver, just make sure that you drive within the speed limit. If you are a passenger, be a check on the driver. When the driver is making a wrongful decision or overtaking or whatever, or overspeeding, find a nice way to air your concern.
I think the emphasis should be on nice way.
Yeah, a nice way, yeah, it has to be, because you are talking to a human being.
Yes.
Be nice, be polite. And then I also want to say that other passengers who normally or usually rather insult the passenger who is raising the concern,
and urge the driver to break the rule.
We should stop it. We should rather come as a group. The passengers must come as a group, because we are the ones who are always with the drivers anyway on the road. Yes. So
thank you very much,
and then
Daniel.
Finally, passengers should not put pressure on the drivers to speed or so that they get to wherever they are going early.
We'll leave it here for and hopefully at the end of the festive season we'll maintain that discipline.
I'll come back and tell you that we have reduced the cases of
yeah. Thank you very much, Daniel. Daniel Waku is Greater Accra Manager, National Road Safety Commission, and he joined us on News Today. When we come back, we'll do some more stories. Don't go away. You're welcome back to News Today. And President John Mahama has urged farmers to adopt modern ways of farming to make the most of farmlands. He has also announced an outright 70% payment by farmers for government-subsidized tractors. The president was addressing this year's Best Farmer Award winners ahead of the National Farmers' Day to be held at Sogakopa in the Volta region. The ceremony will be sanctioned by Vice President Kwesi Bekwe Mr. Arthur in the absence of President Mahama, who will be in France for an international assignment.
In many countries, some of the richest people are farmers. And it must be the same in Ghana. That the richest people in this country must not be contractors, must not be other engineers or other people. It must be farmers. Because everybody eats food. You can quarrel with your wife, you can quarrel with your friend, you can quarrel with anybody, but you can't quarrel with food. And so every day people eat food. And who produce the food is the farmers. And so that should translate into money into the pockets of people who are willing to take farming as a business. And media should lead that way to change the perception of farmers that they are poor. We will continue the policy of providing improved seeds and other incentives to farmers in order to increase their production. We have a program to provide subsidized tractors to farmers, and there I must say we are having a bit of problem. Government absorbs 30% of the price of the tractor, and the farmer is supposed to take the tractor and pay the remaining 70% over a 3-year period. Unfortunately, those who have received the tractors have been very reluctant to pay for the tractors. This was supposed to be a revolving facility so that we could extend it to other farmers. But because the pioneers who received those tractors are reluctant to pay, it is making it difficult for government to continue to turn this project around. And so I wish to appeal to the farmers that if we are to reintroduce the issue of subsidized tractors, they must endeavor to pay for the tractors. Right now, what we're doing with the tractors that are coming is that government still subsidizes by 30%, but you are required to pay the 70% in a lump sum before you take the tractor because of those who have refused to pay in the...
Well, in the Upper West region, the Wa Municipal Assembly has embarked on a decongestion exercise to free up its business district. Properties worth several thousands of Ghana cedis, including the former Wa International School, were demolished in the exercise to allow a relocation of the main bus terminal currently at Wa KGTR. Rafiq Salam reports from the area.
The Wa KGTR bus terminal is packed with human beings and container shops, which are competing for space with the vehicles. The congestion has created a favorable atmosphere for thieves to operate while pedestrians are often knocked down by vehicles. In a bid to free up the bus terminal, the Wa Municipal Assembly decided to demolish the former Wa International School and other structures close to it to create space for the relocation of the terminal. Armed with a rented bulldozer, the Assembly's task force reduced the school and other shops to rubble as the helpless owners looked on. This man, who identified himself as Imori Tivena, accused the Assembly of not consulting them before embarking on the exercise.
We are not aware. They didn't tell the landlords. And the place is not for government land. Yes, we are not aware. Nobody is aware of it. Those who put their containers they are not aware. We will agree. Although that the container that is along with the road, they have to remove all. If not, we will agree. We have to take it. We won't leave it here. We will leave the matter here. We are going to send it beyond all our control. So we will leave it here.
Although he says he supports the Assembly's decision to decongest the area, the affected persons may resort to legal action since the Assembly has been partial in its approach. Meanwhile, the Municipal Chief Executive for Wa, Isaaku Nuhu Putiaha, has defended the Assembly's action, arguing they have done no wrong.
In fact, that particular structure that we are pulling down is so dilapidated, it hasn't been in use. What we have to say is that some people were illegally using it as a school. It was also a hub for criminals to do their nefarious activities, especially in the night. And it has not been used. Though an assembled property, it was idling for a very long time. So that structure, in actual fact, was not used legally by any other person.
He appealed to residents to support the Assembly achieve its mandate of bettering the lives of the people. Rafiq Salam's report from Wa.
The chiefs and elders of 3 communities who own the lands for the Abuaze thermal plant in the western region say the T3 power plant generators will never produce power again until the gods in the area are pacified. The chiefs are also demanding immediate payments of compensation for the lands which government acquired for the project before they reverse the evil spells their gods have invoked on the operations of the Volta River Authority at Abuaze. The T3 combined cycle plant is a $256 million power generation project funded by the Canadian government and managed by the VRA and uses both light crude oil as well as gas for power generation. Joy News correspondent Kweku Usoprepra, who spoke to an elder of the communities, revealed there has not been specific payments for the lands acquired several years ago. The compensation for the 2 land reports say will amount to about 23 billion Ghana cedis. And it makes me wonder, perhaps that's why the place caught fire some time ago. Well, meanwhile, efforts to reach the VRA to comment on this have not been successful. Let's move on to some other stories. And the Eurozone lost some momentum in November as services with private sector activity slowing slightly. The market composite purchasing managers index, which tracks several sectors, slipped to 51.7 from 51.9 in October. But the figure beat expectations, and the PMI reading stayed above 50, indicating expansion. In Germany, composite PMI hit a 29-month high as firms hired more workers to meet the demands of new orders. In Spain, for instance, the service sector returned to growth, and the sector saw its biggest increase of new business since 2007. But other readings indicated France was at risk of going back into recession with an all-sector reading of 48, a 5-month low. Italy also worsened markedly from the month earlier with a composite PMI reading of 48.8. We'll take a break here. When I return, we'll do sports news. Thanks for staying on News Today. It's now time for some sports news. And ace boxer Azuma Nelson advises Agbeko ahead of his bout against Guillermo Rigondeaux.
Boxing is boxing. Anything can happen, you know. He can knock the opponent in the first round. The opponent can knock him in the first round by, you know, any some mistake can happen, and you know. But I know Agbeko is a good boxer, you know, and all he need is a good hard training, you know, hard training, and he can win. If Agbeko lose, he didn't lose because he's a lack of experience, you know. He will lose it because it's not in good condition.
Right. Come Friday, we would find out if really Ghana would meet the group of death as far as the World Cup draw is concerned. Ahead of this event, Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah has been speaking to Joy Sports. Let's take a listen.
You know, once you've qualified, you know, automatically any team that has qualified to the World Cup stage, you know, it's a big country. And for me, you know, if you are afraid to meet one of the big countries, then, you know, it's better you tell yourself, no, we're not going for the World Cup. But once you've struggled to qualify, then you should be prepared, you know, to face anything that comes your way. The most important thing is making sure you prepare yourself very well so that, you know, you'll be able to face anything that...
Let's check out the build-up to... In international news, South Africa's alien first black president Nelson Mandela is putting up a courageous fight from his deathbed. His daughter Makaziwe Mandela says she told national broadcaster SABC that the anti-apartheid icon was still with as strong, courageous, even for a lack of a better word. On his deathbed, he is teaching us lessons in patience, in love, lessons of tolerance, she added. Now, Mandela, 95, is receiving home-based medical care. He was discharged from hospital in September after being treated for nearly 3 months of a recurring lung infection. Let's do some other stories. And you're welcome back to News Today. Just before we get into showbiz, today at the Judgment Debt Commission, former Ghana High Commission to the UK appeared before the Judgment Debt Commission in relation to the sale of the GMPC drill ship Discoverer 511.
Numbered 01953-801, payable to the government of Ghana by the order of constant and constant solicitors and dated 18th July 2001 to me at the High Commission in London. Honorable Katie Hammond informed me that the amount expressed on the bank draft was part of the proceeds from the sale of the drill ship and which was due to the government of Ghana. I was therefore to hold on to the bank draft pending further instructions from the Honorable Minister of Finance.
Before you proceed, did that instruction from the Minister of Finance ever get to you?
Well, it was a telephone instruction.
And what was the nature of this instruction as far as this draft was concerned?
The draft should be paid into the Mission Special Collections account.
And where is this account?
It's held at the Ghana International Bank, PLC, London.
Hammond handed this check to you. You said he told you it was part of the proceeds of the sale of a drill ship. Is that right?
Yes, my lord.
Did he by chance tell you how much was realized from the sale?
Well, he didn't say much, but what happened was I had received previously a telephone message from the Attorney General's office to meet Mr. Hammond and to witness the signing of a sales agreement. At that meeting, Katie Hammond briefed me of the sale of the drill ship, but the details were not made known to me.
So he never told you how much it was sold for?
I was not told how much it was sold for.
But Mr.
Yeah, when did you witness this document? What was the document? The document that you witnessed, what was it?
It was a sales agreement on the drill ship. Now, the circumstances of my witnessing this were a little bit bizarre.
Will you tell the commission what the situation was?
I was out of the office when I received a phone call from my office that the Attorney General has sent a message that I should go to a London address and meet Honorable Katie Hammond and witness a sales agreement that he was concluding. I wasn't immediately.
We'll bring you more on that story in our subsequent bulletin, Prime News at 8. Let's do some showbiz now. Veteran highlight musician Alfred Benjamin Krenzel, you might know him as A.B. Krenzel, who was recently honored at the 2013 Legends and Legacy Ball, has been sharing the secret to his long stay in music with showbiz. In an interview after a tribute concert held in his honor, the 69-year-old says focus and hard work have been his cardinal points throughout his career.
High-life veteran Alfred Benjamin Krenzel, popularly known as A.B. Krenzel, was honored this past weekend at a tribute concert, the Legends and Legacy Ball, for his contribution to the growth and development of the Ghanaian music industry.
Honoring you as a highlife professor, you're made of more and you're truly a living music legend. A.B. Krenzel, Aiku.
Later, in an interview with Showbiz, A.B. Krenzel urged budding musicians to take their craft seriously if they are to succeed in the music industry.
You don't have to fool around with whatever is your aim. You see, whatever you're doing. Everybody must try his best to do what he's supposed to do, you know, like music. Okay, music, they can take up music, but they have to do it well. To attract the people, yes. Otherwise, you fighting a loose battle.
Meanwhile, contemporary high-life musician Kwesi P, who has been inactive in the industry, says even though the younger generation of musicians have a passion to do music, there are challenges in the industry preventing musicians like himself from realizing their full potentials.
I've been around, working and all that, but it's just, the system is not too good. It's not actually favoring us. But then we hope things will change in the near future so that we can show at the end of the day the talent we have and the good songs we're producing. Yeah.
Well, for now, one can only hope the Musicians Union of Ghana will be able to help its members overcome their hurdles to keep music alive in the country.
You're watching News Today, and our major stories again. Former Acting High Commissioner to UK, Chris Bodo, has told the Judgment Death Commission he has no knowledge of how the $3.5 million from the sale of the GMPC drill ship in 2001 was disbursed. President John Mahama is to direct the Trade Ministry to halt activities of anti-pirated textile task force in various markets in the country following appeals by leadership of market traders at the Flagstaff House. South Africa's 8th and first black president is putting up a courageous fight from his deathbed, according to his daughter Makaziwe Mandela. That's more news on MyJawOnline.com. Thanks for your company. Goodbye for now. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano.